In the video today, we're going to look at the community of Stradella that's in South Lombardy, and you're going to see some real estate that you can find throughout the town. Hey, what's up everybody? I just hopped in the car, I got some gas, and I'm off to explore. Basically, I'm searching for a smaller community that maybe we don't look at as much, right? There's Rome, Milan, Venice. We know all these big cities in Italy, but often these smaller villages go unnoticed. And so I'm going to go exploring a little bit to the south of my house in Lombardy because I cannot leave the region still. We're still under lockdown a little bit. And we're going to see what we can find regarding real estate. I don't know if I'm going to be able to look inside anything, but I'll be visiting a number of villages up in the mountains as close as I can get in Lombardy to the southern mountains of this whole valley. So stick around. Not really sure if I'm going to get stopped in the street or not. Just passing through a little city called Sant'Angelo di Giano. It's got a really big castle in the middle of town. It's a pretty interesting place. Never actually been in the castle though. Now I honestly hope I don't get stopped because I couldn't find my wallet on the way out. But it is possible that I'll be running into some police roadblocks, not roadblocks, that's a bit of an exaggeration, but they do stop people to control who's moving about and to influence us to stay home a little bit more often. And I don't know what's going to be ahead, but I'm sure things will go just fine. I hope. This is pretty much everything I see near my home. There's many cornfields. I assume they go to feed the pigs, which is a big commodity in this region and regions nearby. If you haven't ever tried prosciutto cotto or prosciutto crudo, it's basically just ham or uncooked ham, but it's prepared in a pretty special way. This is pretty famous in this area and frankly all over Italy. There are numerous farms peppered all over this valley. We are, like I mentioned, in the Valley Po, just to the north side of the Po River. And it's a big farm area. Over there you can see there's a hillside. The area is flat, like you can see me driving around in right now, but there are these little pockets of hillside all over it. I personally enjoy it. We're gonna explore a bit of it. I didn't take the principal road. I run into this situation where I have a two-direction, one-lane road, which is pretty common where I live. But right here, we're actually really close. You can't see past it, but there's a mountain, a small hill over there that I'm trying to get to. It's a pretty large estate here. Most of farmers have these larger cascina, is what they're called. If you can search and pick up a cascina. I am seriously right here in the middle of these fields. And it's beautiful, frankly, but not a place that most people would choose to live. The streets are empty in a lot of these smaller towns. Mostly it's the afternoon, a little bit hot, but it's also a 4-day weekend, so perhaps they went up into the mountains. A lot of people biking around today, and especially on these back roads that I'm on right now. This is not the principal road. This is more or less what people use to get from one spot to another if they don't want to follow traffic. I'm gonna actually start popping into the different communities nearby. We still have like a main principal highway that passes through the Po Valley, so it's not like we're off the beaten path at all. It just happens to be that from Piacenza to, I don't even know where it goes, towards Turin, towards France. There's a main highway that connects, and we're on the north side and we're about to cross to the south side, and the mountain that I'm headed towards is on the south side of this road. Camera phones really don't do it justice, especially while I'm driving, but there's this beautiful panoramic with the church in the distance. The real estate itself is not the highest caliber, but it's pretty standard. So we've just stopped for a second in a community that I passed by or was passing through, and it's called Portalbera. From what I can see, it's just a small community, literally smaller than my residential area just outside of Milan for sure. The real estate is a bit rustic. Some of them have been renovated, but honestly, I'd be interested to find a real estate agency in this area and talk to an agent and see what kind of real estate I can find. It's actually what I was walking down the street to find, maybe an office, because normally on the offices you can find their window is covered with listings, so that when you're walking down the community, anybody walking down can see a number of the properties for sale. You can hear church bells in the distance, and it's just a bit of farmland. There's some properties have a bit of cortile, garden space. From what I can tell, the bread shop and the salami shop behind me, and perhaps it looks like a beauty parlor, are the only businesses in this little town. And unfortunately, there is no real estate agency that I can pop in and see the real estate. And not really very many people outside to ask if there's any like abandoned houses. So we're gonna move forward and see what else we can find. I should mention that this is the same community as Portobello. At first glance, it seemed like a very broken down one street town that had nothing to do, but actually there was a pretty nice cathedral or church in the middle of town and a new construction section that is a little bit closer to the main portion of town, the main residential area. And I'm just stating this, my priority right now is to look into the broken homes, not the new construction. So I'm not going to be focusing on those newer sections of town. I probably won't spend the time recording every single aspect of every village, but I will do as much as I can. We're now just leaving Portobello and reaching a lot closer to these mountains over here, still on the north side of the main street that connects Piacenza to the west. More and more vineyards the farther south we go. Here's another community called Stradella that is a bit larger, and I'm going to try to show a few things here. We are in Stradella, and there is this train stop. You can see the train moving past. So we're going to try to find the historical center of this town. I'm guessing it's up this direction. It's always a guess. I didn't do my research before I came here, so it's always a party. It's always fun to explore. But I can't go that direction, so that's usually a good sign. I was surprised to find a really nice plaza, and we're gonna run through here real quick, just showing you a lot of shops, jewelry shops, coffee shops. This is pretty much the historical center. It has a lot of business movement, and the people are out and about even in this time period. Most everyone is wearing a mask today. So this is what I was talking about, Gabetti Property Solutions. They've got this window that shows all of these listings, and this is pretty much standard across Italy. You'll find these windows on every real estate agency. The prices seem pretty standard as far as the upper market goes. People that are looking to make money on the sale of their home. Touring around inside this piazza, it has everything, even a second real estate agency that I found that has similar pricing. Now these are not properties that I'm looking for personally. If anyone would like to contact them, most likely they speak Italian, but here, I guess here's their numbers. So I've got my mask on because this place is a lot more populated, and I'm not sure there are local laws regarding strictness on wearing the mask, so you might not hear me as well. Now we've seen a lot of the real estate in the main street. I wanted to go around and show you the back streets as well, because that's where you're going to find different abandoned properties. And a lot of people don't check out these streets. They just stick to the main tourist path, I think. I mean, that's what I typically did as well. For first world countries, this city's got all the services it needs. I mean, pretty much everything, right? At the same time, the back roads here could lend to an opportunity if we just search a little bit. So we talk about deals on the auctions and the €1 homes, and there's the regular real estate market. And each little real estate agency will have their listings, and there's really no standard MLS system, multiple listing service system. But one of the best ways of finding real estate is to actually find a distressed property, just like in the United States, and try to find the owner and contact them directly. And I've heard of people, I have friends that had experiences where they got pretty big discounts on property that was more or less abandoned and that needed a new owner. Some properties like this, I mean, this one looks like it's under construction fairly recently, but there are properties like this that also have been abandoned for a period of time. You can see they started a construction project and perhaps ran out of money. That's where it ended. And so contacting these people, sometimes as a seller, they're a lot more motivated. This is on a private street, and so I got to turn around. Well, this community is a lot like many others, a little bit bigger than I expected, to be very honest. It's very close to a main interstate that goes through east to west Italy, and so maybe that's why. I know that pretty close there is actually an Amazon warehouse, and I'm not saying that that influences much, but it seems to be a little bit of a principal zone. Now, I'm going to turn around the camera right here because this is what I was looking for. A property like this that looks like it should be on the €1 home market. This right here that seems to be just about 4 meters wide by maybe, I don't know, 10. 2 floors, and it is just bare bones right now, number 9, if anybody wants to know. But it's right here aside this other property that looks like it's being used. It has some of these Venetian blinds open, and Venetian blinds, how do you call those? Venetian, we call them Porte Veneziane, I think. So Venetian doors. But we're not in Venice, so my point is that some of this real estate is probably empty. And if you ask around, like this one right here, it looks in better condition than that one over there, obviously, but it's probably abandoned. But it is connected to something that is potentially not, that you could probably pick up for a discounted price. Quick note, this is a high school in the community that I found. It's actually very large. I'm sure they've got more than one. This is the dream, though, to find some locale that has a nice inner courtyard. Seems to be like the Italian architecture go-to when you're in a city that's larger and you don't have the space for your backyards. You're in some kind of condominium. Another example of something that has potential as far as looking like it's not used as much. It could be just a magazine, is what they call it, just a kind of a garage or a shop that could be restored and turned into residence. And it's right here on this main street, so just have to keep your eye out, and if you speak Italian, all the better, but if not, you'll have to find someone to contact them for you. I think this is where we want to go before we leave town. The Basilica S. Marcello, San Marcello. But if it's really high up on this hill, I'm not sure if I want to go. It reminds me of Camerata, suddenly, but a lot different. I'm not sure what portion of this building is abandoned. There are some curtains inside, and the windows seem to be open slightly. And there is laundry hanging outside, so someone might have just not finished restoring the exterior yet. But here's another example. property needs some help. You can say that about 90% of the properties in Italy, probably. I'd say one of the beautiful things about a place like this is that it's less heard of, but it still has all the services you need. If you find a little location right outside, you're a little bit rural, but still connected to close enough to get anywhere in Italy. I mean, Italy is only like the 5th largest geographically, if it was considered one of the United States. So it's not huge, but because there's so many people, it does feel distant from one countryside village to the other. Honestly, it's not that much different than Tuscany. It gets a little colder up where it's a little bit more north, but these rolling hills just outside of where we are right now still gives you that feel, but it is definitely less talked about than Tuscany due to some famous books and movies that we know of. We definitely don't want to forget this one. I don't know what its use is. There's a beautiful garden behind it, and it's right here on this corner, but not so wide, really long, potentially being used for something. But I like the style, and it is, it definitely needs a fixing up. So many windows on the side, pretty cubicle design. But who knows who's holding on to this property, for how long they intend to hold this property, or if these recent events have influenced them to sell it as soon as possible. It does say it's video surveillance, but it just probably means somebody passed it from one family member to the other, hoping to keep some value in the family, and just over time it loses value because nobody is interested in it. But personally, I'm the type that is. Wanted to see what this basilica was about. I think I found the access. I think there's probably a parking on the other side. Start to get a pretty good view of the valley below, but they love to build these cathedrals up on the hilltops so that everyone, I assume, would be able to find it from a distance. Or to remind everyone that they should be repentant. So I just got back down the hill from the Basilica, the church, and it's time to head off to another town. We've seen a few properties that will be interesting to see if I can follow up on. To do so, I have to contact like a geometra or somebody who has access to records, give them the address, and see if they can start working with me on a project and find out a way that I can contact the owners. But thanks for watching the video. Subscribe to the channel. I'm going to be sharing a lot more of these walking through various communities. If this is something you like, make sure you give me a big thumbs up so that I know to make more content like this. It's amazing to see some of the beautiful real estate as well as some of the dilapidated just across the street. And so if you want to see more of that, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video.